just kicked the whole camera too.
Oh, don't kick the
That's a good
camera.
start.
We are live. Hey,
Kicking
friends.
the
Bring that
camera,
down a little
blowing out the audio levels with loud guitar. Did it work? Sorry, guys. Okay.
Whoa. Bart is here. Jennifer is here. Hello. Hi, friends. What is up? What is going on? It is another Wednesday weekly. Weekly Wednesday?
It was a rough one. Rough one today, guys.
It was a rough one for Drew today. He scratched himself on the nose.
Yep.
And he cut his finger.
Sliced my thumb open with a wire stripper.
God. Dino coming in hot with a super chat.
Cheers to Dino.
Hi, friend. How are you? Hey, folks. Extra slow and boring night at work. Shh. But not anymore. It's Wednesday weekly live. Yay. I hope the week treated y'all kind and the progress is moving right along. Hey, Mateo.
Extra slow and boring night. Wednesday night at work can be so boring.
Buford, you're back. Hello. Hello.
To the live for some tunes, cause Wednesday nights can be so boring.
We're already coming in hot with a super chat right off the bat.
Coming in hot off the bat, super chat off the bat, coming in hot. Ooh.
Nice. It's extra buttery today.
I sliced my thumb. Actually, I'm trying to make sure I watch some of the guitar shapes I'm playing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was using the little stripper part on my cutter strippers to peel back the insulation on the marine stuff. It was like a 14 gauge or something. And it kind of got caught and I popped it right off, right in through my thumb.
Yeah.
Into the nail. And I was like, ow. I looked down. It was just super bloody immediately.
Yeah, usually it's me who's hurting themselves. It was you this week. It was Drew's turn.
I guess I need to buck up and get the special ones to strip back flat wire. I'm sure they exist.
A lot of things can be solved just from having the right tool.
It's definitely a decent tool. Last year I had the little thin cutter ones and I would cut myself that way too. So I guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Bus Big Buford driving back from Baltimore in the pouring rain. There's rain everywhere right now.
That sounds like us. Like real sad.
That is what rain sounds like.
Driving in the rain is a terrible time, but I'll be alright. Yeah, I'll be just fine. Okay, we need to go back to the sexy stuff.
It's true.
Who gives? I was gonna say something else. Never mind. Anyways, what's going on, guys?
Everybody's giving Bart the love in the comment section.
Yeah, I scratch my nose.
Well, we're all here to see Savannah and Drew. I was watching your videos this week, Bart. I was loving the build. We were telling you earlier, we started in a van very similar to that. So it's nostalgic to see a van like that being built out.
All the space saving tricks.
Foreman Mateo looks real tired from this build. He's been wearing himself out.
He looks like he's on patrol. What is he doing over there?
He's drinking some water. What are you doing? Eating flies. That too. Keeping the flies down in the workshop.
Keeping them flies. Yeah. So it's been a shorter week. So, well, I mean, same length, I guess. But
Drew, they make these special Band-Aids by Gorilla Tape.
Yeah, I'm not a big Band-Aid guy, but I did use one today because I had it at the shop.
Usually he just wraps whatever injury he has in a paper towel and some painter's tape.
Yeah, usually.
And I like to remind him all the time that Band-Aids exist. So I like to see that you used a Band-Aid this time.
It's because it's on the end, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I needed some flexibility. I usually do that so it's more, if it's not that bad, just to protect it so it doesn't like rip open or catch it on something. Oh, you got another super chat, Savannah. What's it say?
Chuck, a $10 super. Oh, I made Mateo jump. He jumped. Chuck coming in with a $10 super chat. Pizza money. We had pizza
money
tonight.
I just had pizza. It was money. I didn't have to.
Last week's pizza money. Chuck,
Pizza
thank you so much. Thank you.
That pizza was money with the pizza money that paid for it.
Jennifer, hello, back again from Schoolie Homestead Community in Jessup, Georgia. Welcome back.
How's it going down there? What's going on down there?
So,
give me a quick bullet point of what's happening down there. Is like a lot of people building, or I know we sort of talked about it before.
Schoolie Homestead Community.
I still haven't looked it up.
This in a live.
Oh, she's mentioned it a few times.
Quite a while ago.
Whoa, what's that? And I didn't look it up. I'm pretty bad about that.
Bart said, Savannah, that welding job on the cabinet is so legit. That cabinet is going to look so good when completed. Thank you so much. It was like a huge undertaking because obviously when you're first learning something, it just takes a lot more like brain power. Every move that you make, like nothing is just inherent. You're thinking about everything you do, and especially with welding, like it can be dangerous at times. So I'm always double, triple checking what I'm doing, and you got to have a plan and think it out. So it took probably twice the time it would have taken to build it out of wood, but I'm so proud of it.
Pretty cool.
I'm so proud of it.
Like I said in the video, it's something I've wanted to do for a while, but
yeah,
I don't really have the skill set.
We have, we've talked about it forever. So I'm really glad that we finally got to do it.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool if you could make the components, then you wouldn't have to weld them all. You would make the pieces, then you could bolt them together and you could flat pack that, and people could buy those on a somewhat modular level for their vehicles. Yeah. I think that'd be pretty useful to a lot of people that don't have access to that kind of, machinery.
Yeah.
Tools.
I think next time I'm going to try to make it out of aluminum. Maybe just aluminum and like weld the aluminum together. I know that T-channel aluminum exists, and that may be an option. I just have to look into it a little better. But like I said in the video, baby steps. Like I'm just starting to learn, so I wanted to tackle a project that was within my skill level. And I really wanted my dad's help with it, obviously, because it would go a lot quicker and be a lot easier for me. But he just pieced out. He came in the beginning, kind of checked my plan and was like, looks great. Here's a few suggestions. I'm going to go have a yard sale. See you later. And then he just left. And I was like, whoa, wait, what? And he's like, yep, you graduated now, so have fun.
Sometimes you got to get that yard sale game going,
But sometimes you do have to just like do it on your own, If you have someone there helping you all the time, that's just, like way more skilled than you, it's going to cause you to not learn as much.
Pretty much the only way to learn, right? Like,
hell yeah.
It's nice if you have the person to reference that actually knows what they're doing, because that can cut a lot of corners of the learning curve for you.
There were a few phone calls.
Yeah.
I called him and was like, wait, I'm about to do this. Is that right? He's like, yes, no.
Right. So you can save some mistakes or save lots of time researching or trying till you figure it out. So yeah, you got to just do it. But then it is super nice if you have someone you can call. I wish I would have had somebody to call when I was learning all the solar stuff. It was like there in some ways there is, right? You can go find the information, but like a direct line, I don't know. There's not a ton of people out there that like are accessible, that are professional in that field, I feel like.
Definitely. Don says, aloha from Hawaii.
Oh, what's up?
That's a bit away. Huh? Nice. Hawaii. We have never been there and have always wanted to go. Element 115 is in the house. Aloha from Phoenix.
Aloha, bitches back home. We're going to Hawaii now.
Dino said he agrees with Bart. The cabinet build is awesome. Thank you guys. Making me feel really good about my project. Thank you.
Cheers, Element 15. If you can guess what can is inside of there. by the color. You might be able to.
You have a tiny bug on the outside. It just landed on there. Bus Big Buford. So how about that badass welding? Thank you guys.
All Savannah.
I love filming welding. I think it's really beautiful, like visually. Once it's in the camera, you can even slow down some of the welding.
Yeah.
Because it's bright blue and it's orange and there's smoke coming up. I love filming welding. So it was a really fun. It was a fun video to make and edit.
Start making welding music for you. Oh shoot! Savannah's gonna weld again.
Just really hardcore. Just way too hardcore.
the one part in one of the early videos, you and your dad were doing all that work. It was like the music was pretty intense.
It has to be. You can't put folk music.
I was
to
laughing
welding.
at the edit. I was like, "This is hilarious."
You can't. I tried it. You can't put like nice, because obviously we're both like acoustic musicians. You can't put that music to welding. It doesn't fit. It just doesn't.
Don't put me in a box.
It doesn't feel right. I guess you just played acoustic welding music. So
yeah, exactly.
Bart, my van build is being done ass backwards, but that was because of me using it for work and needing the space then and not wanting to ruin everything. Yeah, that makes a difference if you're going from a work vehicle into a full-blown house.
That'll do it.
A Bus Life story is in the house. Isaac, yo, hello all.
Cheers,
hey, bro. What is up? I'm jealous that all you guys are heading to descend on the bend very soon. That's all I've been hearing about on the social medias.
It is that time, isn't it? It's time for the descent of the bend.
It's time to descend.
Descent on the bend.
We're pretty jealous, but we are on the opposite side of the country. Oh, yeah. And there's so many gatherings going on in Oregon this time of year, and we just kind of watch from afar, but one day we'll make it. Well, I mean, I went in 2019, so a while ago, but we will make it again. And it'll be Drew's first time.
That's true.
It is an overwhelming amount of vans and buses.
I think I would get tired very quickly. Those tough. Sort of environments, I'm like, whoa, and then I'm like, I'm sleepy.
And then it makes you sleepy.
It wears me like a mall.
After like
shopping mall, I get tired within like 15 minutes inside of a mall. Yeah. There's like too many things, too much senses.
Yeah. After your like 400th bus build you look at that day, you're like,
I'd make it to about 4. And I'd be like, that's cool. And I'm like, I'm going to go take a nap.
It's just so cool that you can get all of these people, well, almost all of these people in one spot, and like you see rigs, you're like, oh, I've followed them for years. You can just walk up and say hi, It's pretty cool. And how much it has grown over the years is crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot to take on at once, but it seems pretty interesting.
Yes, everyone's building here. Jennifer, the schoolie community.
She's like, I already answered you 3 times, Drew.
We all help each other. Yeah, Drew.
Okay, I need to is there somewhere I can see some documentation of this?
Some pictures?
Okay, that sounded like I didn't believe you. I mean, is there somewhere I can see like video or footage of this?
Yeah, like pictures. We'd love to see
I have a vibe in my mind.
A website. See if it's
close.
I would love to see that because
it's like a live. There should be a live cam.
We get people asking quite a lot about people to help them with their builds or like space to build, and I'd love to be able to send them somewhere.
Wasn't there a guy in New York doing that?
I think so, yeah.
Adirondacks or something.
Kim, hey Kim, welcome. Very nice welding job. I would need bolt together. Would like to relearn to weld. I know you guys are patting me on the back.
She might not get out of the doorway, guys.
Been a long while since high school shop. It's I severely underestimated welding for these builds. It is one of the most useful things I think you can do.
It's pretty nice.
Be able to custom fabricate.
It opens
whatever you need.
It opens up a lot of options for sure.
It does. It's not necessary, not 100% necessary. But if you can do it, if you can learn, or even just get one of those like cheaper welders from Harbor Freight, you can do a lot. You really can. Yeah,
sometimes it's just like the more skills and materials you have, sometimes something is maybe a little bit better or more efficient for a job. Not that it can't be done another way. I mean, our bus, the only welding that was done was welding your dad did to repair rusted out stuff, which is huge, right? But like the structural, like house part itself,
Right.
I don't think there was any welding involved.
There was none because we couldn't. We didn't
Right.
weld.
But when you have it at your disposal,
Yes.
I'll make a disc golf analogy that nobody will understand. So if you only throw backhand and you need the disc to go right, it's possible, but a lot of times it's easier to throw a forehand shot and the disc is spinning in the other direction and it fades that way.
Does anyone here play disc golf like Drew? Have you noticed all his West Side discs, shirts, and koozies? He's obsessed.
But it's the same thing. You can accomplish a thing.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's something that might be a little more efficient way to do it. And if you have that skill set or that tool or whatever it is, it is nice.
Definitely.
Once you have it, you'll start going to it more often.
Kraken engineer, hey, caught you live. Welcome. We're here.
Caught us.
We're here and we're live. A bus life story. I met you there in 2019. I forgot till you mentioned that. Yeah, I believe we were both playing like on the same stage or something. We were both performing. I know that. And was going first. The other one was right after. I remember meeting you like in the music area with Quaddlebomb. I'm pretty sure that was his name. Yeah. I haven't seen him since, but
Quaddlebomb?
Yeah, he had the coolest old VW, and the stage was off the side of the bus. It was so cool. It was really cool.
Was that his bus name or his music performer name?
I believe that was his last name.
Oh, it was actually his name.
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
DJ Quaddlebombs. I don't know.
Someone might be able to tell me different, but I believe that was his name.
It's Quaddlebum. Thank you very much.
Sarah Temp, howdy right back.
Howdy ho.
I am N. At age 7, me and my friend built a rocket ship out of a refrigerator box. We bought ice cream for food and used autumn leaves for fuel. The fire department put it out. We were grounded for a week.
Wow. That's fantastic.
It's really wow.
Did you get out of Earth's orbit?
Yeah, did you make it? Sarah said, no, I don't do sports.
Okay.
Me either.
I figured most people weren't going to understand that, but
me either. I also don't do sports. But
it's a sport. It's more than a sport.
What was the episode this week? We talked, I think, completely about the kitchen cabinet.
Yeah, it was a big project.
Mm-hmm.
You talked completely. I don't think I said much.
I did a lot of welding.
You did.
But then there was woodworking too. We made the drawers and everything.
That's right.
You did a lot of head nodding.
Kind of like right now.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
Yes, couldn't sit for 3 days. Grounded for a week.
Oh. Nice.
Yeah, it's we've gotten quite a bit farther with the cabinet, like in real life, and pretty much in the end, like
IRL, the kids are saying.
IRL.
So then like a couple weeks ago.
You can't even tell that it's made out of metal, which was the entire goal of the whole thing, was to frame it out of metal but not make it look like it's made out of metal. Because when I was researching this cabinet, I saw some cabinets that people did where they kept the metal kind of exposed, and then they would kind of frame the inside with wood, and it just looked really industrial, and I didn't love it. And so in the end, we just decided to completely keep it the exact same that we've been doing, but basically just change the skeleton of it. And the drawer slides are definitely way stronger.
Yeah, there's no room for them to give. The only way they'd give is if the screws broke. Yeah,
because we have with the fridge, we have 3 heavy-duty drawer slides in the cabinet. But the other 2, the one under the oven and one of the like stacked drawers, we have heavy-duty drawer slides on those drawers, and already they're kind of like pulling out of the wood in our own bus.
Yeah.
So
Not bad, but
it's tough because you can install the heavy duty drawer slides, which support the drawer and support all the weight. But the wood that it's attached to it's still just wood, you know?
My thought to remedy that without welding the whole thing out of metal is if you allotted for another 1/8 or 1/4 inch space and did strips of metal that you screwed into the wood first at many points.
Like skinning it with metal.
Just where the slides go.
Yeah, where the
and then you screw the slides into that metal that's been secured at like maybe like 6 or 8 points. So I think it would be a lot stronger. Oh, like over the long haul.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, ultimately, those are still pulling on that wood, but I do think it would help distribute it better because you could have more points of contact.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I think it turned out really well. I like it. I'm really happy with it. I'm excited to see like if long term it does kind of do what I think it's going to do.
Oh, I think it's going to be rock solid.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about that.
I was really excited. I finished it and just kind of like stood back and was like, whoa. I made that and I put my square on it and it was square and it was the exact measurement I wanted it to be. And I was like, wow, this worked out suspiciously well. Yeah. I'm like, what's going to happen? This went really well.
No, it looks great.
Sarah asked, could you find part-time work as a welder and how much would they pay? Welders get paid quite a lot. I'm not sure if a welder and a fabricator are two completely different things.
There's different levels of all that.
Right. Sure. But I would need to be certified. Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to get your cert first. And then there's definitely probably a massive range because, you know, there's a difference between being a full-time for a company or on a project or picking up freelance stuff. And there's difference between different kinds of welding. You know, like you always hear like underwater welders, it's super dangerous, but they get paid a lot. Probably not worth it long term. All the health effects. But yeah, so that's kind of like a broad range. But in general, if you have that cert, I mean, it gives you a chance to pick up different work. Yeah. There's definitely probably a good amount of freelance stuff out there.
Yeah, welders get paid really well if you're, you know.
I think you definitely like in the community too, people that just needed something done.
Yeah, for anyone to like hire me to weld something, I would turn that down until I'm certified, you know. Definitely. Welding for yourself or like a friend and then being hired to do something, just two completely different things. And I would imagine there's probably a pretty big demand for people to weld on rigs in the field. Like, hey, I need something done on my school bus, and you show up and you have, you can have a 110 welder, but
yeah,
if you even had the 220 hooked up, you could like actually weld on people's vehicles powered by your own power system. That would be
cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be sick.
I don't know. I mean, getting certified as a welder is like a whole thing, and there's a course, and then they have to come evaluate you and approve you. And
then you just have to be a welder too.
Right.
You have to just only do that.
Then I would just stop doing everything I'm doing and just become a welder.
Yeah, move up north, you know, just live in the cold.
I have to move to Canada?
Yep, great north there, bud. Yep.
Oh, Jennifer says you two were our OGs for our build. We bought our shuttle bus because of you, bought all your plans, have followed everything you've done. Because of you, we felt we could do that. Thank you. Wait,
hold on. There's one more coming in. And then we realized that we don't like anything you do. Oh my gosh. I hear that last line to come in. And then we realize you guys are full of it.
Then we hate
thank you. That's really cool. And
thank you so much. That really means a lot.
I like to see pictures of when people finish their rigs.
I know. Whenever we do consultations and stuff, we always ask people to send photos of their finished buses, and it's a really cool moment.
Yeah.
So we love to see a picture of your bus, however far along you are, even if you're not finished, you know. It's
interesting to see what people put into it from their own personality and what they need or want. So you can kind of take all the same basic elements, but you're still going to do things a certain way, I think.
Mhm.
And that's always interesting to see. People have different ideas. So
Yeah.
it's cool to see.
Thank you so much. That it means a lot because a lot of the time, you know, we're in our shop, we're building. It's part of why we're doing live streams so we can interact with you guys. As musicians, we were really used to doing live shows where you're in front of an audience and you're meeting people and you're getting that interaction.
Mhm.
And with YouTube and even the downloadable plans and, you know, our website and all that stuff, people watch our videos, they download our plans, but you know, it's often that we don't hear from those people again. They
Right.
download our plan, they build the booth, you know, and then they go on and live their life, and that's just part of what it is.
Mhm.
So whenever we get a nice email or message or like what you just wrote to us, it's really cool.
Pretty cool.
So
Yeah.
thank you. Dino said, Element 115 guessed kilt lifter for your beer.
Good guess based on the color, but
It is a good guess.
And after I said that, I was like, "Oh, that looks like a kilt lifter can."
Mm-hmm.
It is not, though. You can almost see the writing there.
Yep.
Oh, if you can see that writing, you can definitely figure out what it is.
Very close.
It does
Same
look.
color
It's the
scheme.
same exact colors.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I said it, and then I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna guess kilt lifter."
Yep. Yep.
Actually, yeah.
Sarah said instead of using ply for the side, use boards. It won't strip as much. That is probably true. The plywood, yeah, it's pretty easy for a screw to strip out of that. How do you get certified? Well, I believe you take a course and you learn the material, and then you basically take a test, like a certification test, and they have you weld in different scenarios on different materials, and then they evaluate that and they pass you or not.
Yeah, I imagine there's probably different outlets of that, like trucking or something, right? You can go to a school for it. You could learn on your own if you have a friend that has a truck, and then just go take the test if you have a truck to borrow.
Yeah, like
welding, there's probably like technical schools, but
Right.
you could kind of do it on your own, and then I don't know exactly where you'd go to take a certification, but it's probably different states and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. You can definitely go to school for it, of course.
Right.
But I think for the certification, I could do it here in the welding shop.
Somebody comes in.
I believe someone here could teach me, and then someone would come here and evaluate.
It's like holding anything. Like the Guinness World Record guy is there.
Oh, I thought you meant like gymnastics. Be like 5 out of 10.
Oh, that
8
too.
out of They'd hold up cards with numbers on them. It would be a cool side gig. It would.
Whoa! Don't shake the camera, okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Jeez.
Whoa,
Sorry, guys.
Whoa. Gary asked, how much does it cost to get into van life, and how can someone make money to survive on the road?
Well, those are very large ranging questions there.
Yeah, this is always a tough question because you can spend whatever you want. You could spend $5,000. You could spend 500,000.
It's more like, what is your budget, or what you could potentially raise for a build over whatever your timeline is, and then kind of working back from there. Because you can do things pretty cheap. You can do things very utilitarian. And you can just scale up from there to like a little more polished to very finished to brand new vehicles with all kinds of crazy gizmos.
You can buy one already built.
You can buy one built
from a company.
Yeah, that's always a hard question to give a definitive answer, but it's kind of like, what is your vehicle going to cost you?
Yep.
And this should also really affect what you put in the build, I think. So if you have the budget to get something pretty new that has a lot of life in it, it may be worth putting in a $20,000 or more $20,000 build into it, like very extensive. But if you don't, you're getting into a vehicle for like $5 to $10 grand. That's, fine. and maybe you're going to have for a few years or even like 5 years, it's probably not worth putting that level of money into the build. Probably try to do like $5,000 to $10,000. These are just really rough numbers, but I don't think I would buy a $5,000 vehicle and put $20,000 of a build into it, unless you can hit a jackpot on something that you get something cheap that is going to last a long time. There are some things like that out there, like kind of like decommissioned certain kind of vehicles, like or service vehicles and stuff. But
it's tough right now because things are a lot more expensive than they typically are.
Yeah.
So I mean, wait a few years, things will definitely go down a bit. Like our build, I would say, are thorough and extensive.
Yeah.
There's drawer faces on everything. Just everything is really finished. And so our builds, the materials and everything cost an average of $20,000 on average. It's a little higher this year. It was a little less in 2020, so average. For a van to get a really extensive build, you could probably do it for 10, like these are all just estimates. Just because a van is less space than a bus, it's less materials.
Right, less materials.
So you got to think of how big is your vehicle? How extensive do you want the build to be? What are your goals? Like Drew said, are you traveling for a year and then you're going to do something else? Or is this going to be your home for the next 10?
That's the other big question, right? So why would you put all that money into it? The only way I would do that is if you are on the higher end of like a newer vehicle, and then you're going to be able to get that money back and maybe make some money, right? So if you're in something that's a little more attractive in a resale, it might be worth doing that kind of build, even if you're only going to be in the vehicle for a year or two, because you'll probably be able to sell it for what you put into it, and you're going to be able to make a little bit of profit, most likely. It's in the current environment, but
basically it's tough to say.
I mean, you could do it for $5,000 or $500,000. There's overland builds that are that, and there's builds that are $1 million.
Absolutely. And
I would say most people that do it themselves are probably between right now, probably between like $15,000 to $50,000 doing it yourself is probably the range that people are in right now if you're doing your own build.
Gary also asked about making money.
Money on the road. That's also a very specific to the person kind of question. So people have different skill sets, and some people are able to transition what they're already doing onto the road. We always kind of saw that when we were first in the van, people that had maybe more corporate positions, but it was more like online and they were able to take it online. We're like, wow, that's pretty interesting, pretty cool to be able to make money when you're anywhere. It's tough because you're always still working, but it just depends what you do. But I do also think at the lowest, like the bottom, like it opens up opportunities to kind of do anything, even if it's like something as simple as seasonal work. If you're able to cut ties completely with like a home base, or like paying for rent or a mortgage, now I think the way to look at it is not the limitations, and the way to look at it is like, well, I could go anywhere and take an opportunity. Like, oh, there's this crazy thing going on in Alaska from July to September that I could make X amount of money. It doesn't have to be something that extreme even, but I know people do that. People will travel for work. People will do like different farming gigs. People will do
like let's say what's some of the jobs of people that we've met.
Other beet farmers,
construction, like heavy machinery mechanic, and he would travel from different job sites all over the country and repair construction equipment. It's like a heavy machinery mechanic. Quite a few traveling nurses.
Oh yeah, that one's like perfect for that.
That is perfect.
Musicians.
You
make no money, but you can make no money everywhere.
That was us.
But you're able to make some money almost anywhere.
It's true.
Right? So that's kind of an advantage a lot of people don't have.
Yeah.
All right. It might not be like what you want to make, but you're able to produce money.
Seasonal workers, like at national parks. stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can work for what's that company that does all the food?
Oh, like Delaware North or something.
Yeah, they have a lot of positions always open. There's a lot of stuff.
We have seen a lot of that stuff over the years because we're on similar rotational seasonal schedules as people that do that kind of work, even if they're not in advance.
Right.
Like I've met people that worked at like the Renaissance Festival in Arizona, and it goes on for a couple months, and they were down from like Minnesota.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. Yeah, there's different things like that. I guess it's if you have some sort of skill set already, how can you take that on the road? It's really different for everyone.
Yeah, so we're talking to Gary here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what your specific skill sets are, but if you have something, even, if it's a hobby or something that you really enjoy, is there a way that you can make money doing that? Because moving into a van or a bus or any of these vehicles, most of the time it's lowering your costs of living.
Yeah.
Like on average, most people are spending less than they would for rent or a mortgage or something like that. And the cool thing about it is you can always choose to travel less. You can
more control of it.
Yeah, if you don't have a lot of work that month, you can just not drive, you
right.
know. So it's pretty flexible, and that was always the big point for us as musicians.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't book a lot of gigs that month, we weren't driving a lot, we weren't spending a lot, and so it was flexible for us.
Like if you didn't have some big anchor date in Northern California, there wasn't any reason to go that way. It was going to cost you money. But if you have that, you can then start building off of that and try to get a lot more gigs on the path that goes that way, as far as just speaking from like a gigging musician's perspective.
Yeah.
So if you have a good paying gig on one year, you got a pretty cool little residency thing in Kansas of all places. So it was like, that kind of worked out because it's already in a path we like to go get out west, but it was like a little off the path. Let's stop there. You had a big house show in Alabama.
Yep.
So we went there first, connected a few dots along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's a lot of options. There's probably more out there than you think. I'll say that.
I think there's a lot. It's just you do have to think about things a little different than just like a conventional job.
Yeah.
But I do think in general work is moving, has been at least the last few years, in that kind of way, for better or worse, of like kind of contract work and temporary work and just like you take on a project, right? So good for people like us that live a more mobile lifestyle. Maybe not for some people that have fixed rent every month and they want to be living in one place and they want the regular work. But there is a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, anything in like labor for sure, construction, and then any sort of like technical skills. If you have mechanical skills, you can probably take that anywhere. I don't know. Anyways,
let's see. Let's get back to our.
I guess the point is my main point is that
rambling.
My main point, is that it's not just like I work online, but like these really ethereal things that you generally hear on the internet of like I am, or like just from my social media. And I was like, well, how did you get there?
Yeah.
Right. And what percentage of people are making enough money on just that? Not that many.
Or like I had an office job and they allowed me to take it remote. That's awesome. That's like very, very convenient, Yeah. But a lot of people aren't starting with that.
You can do any level of job and be mobile.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of finding the ones that are okay with it, or the ones that are not a yearly commitment in one location.
Yep. Oh, for the welding certification, you used to have to work for a year with a professional first.
Okay.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
I would like to know more about how to get certified, because if I have time in the future, I might do it.
Yeah.
I might do it. Yep, depends on your job, Gary.
Yeah.
Dino says New Belgium has a lot of options. I dig that 9% though. Gary said, I'm looking to change jobs. I'm not happy with my current career. Well, I hope that you can make that change and, figure something out on the road. If that's where you want to be, like the options are there. I think just to keep an open mind just about the whole thing.
It can definitely be done.
Yeah.
You can definitely do it. You just have to decide that's really what you want and then commit to it. and you'll figure out the ways to make it work for you. I've done all kinds of different stuff, especially before we started getting into like doing the builds, like the last couple of years.
Right.
Lots
we
of
did a lot of
music,
different
but
things.
also I always say being a musician means you have many jobs. That's what I always say to people, right?
Yeah.
Working at pizzerias and moving companies and
Yeah.
driving Lyft and dressing up as a lizard. What?
Yep.
Dressing up in a costume.
I have the pictures to prove it.
I mean,
to prove it.
I don't know. There's a difference, I think, between doing things that aren't great and then when there's like a meaning to it, an end, right? And it's letting you have freedom and working you towards something more.
Yeah.
So
I think so too.
There's all kinds of options.
Let's see. Surge, major, high. I'm wondering what you're gonna do for the back door.
Oh, well, you shall soon see.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually just figured it out.
Do you want to tell them what we're doing?
Yeah.
Oh.
We so the vehicle is a unicell, and they had a roll door on the back, but they offer different door types. That if you buy a brand new unicell from them, you can order like different types of doors in the back. So we called them up and we were like, hey, we want to switch the roll door to these really awesome like full width barn doors that they have. And they were like, yep, we'll sell you. Sorry, Mateo, I just hit his ear. Yep, we'll sell you a brand new kit for the barn doors. And do you want us to ship them? And we're right near their factory. So we were like, nope, we'll come pick them up. We just drove down there, got these huge barn doors. And so we decided that we liked those better than anything that we were going to fabricate or just create.
Yeah.
For the back of the vehicle. We went through a lot of options. And with the time and material cost, just buying these doors from them got us a lot of what we wanted and saved us a ton of time.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with that. And now basically the entire back of the vehicle just opens right up.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
Yeah, it's almost the whole back wall. Like, they're so big. It's really cool. And we have some other cool stuff we're working on for the back end of the vehicle.
Yes.
That kind of made us just pull the trigger on those instead of like designing like some fold down deck or something like that. We kind of considered all those things, or even made a lift up one that's like an in place awning.
We had a lot of different options.
But I was like, wait, these are pretty cool and they're available. And we're fortunate to be close enough to drive and get them.
Yeah, that's
not have
crazy.
to pay for installation or delivery. And or if you did installation, you'd have to drive from wherever you are, bring the vehicle there, which we looked at, but it was like, save that extra whatever it was.
Yeah.
Though when I was installing them for 3 days, I was like, it might have been worth the $600 or whatever it was. I was like, these are because they like gave us the doors and a box of hardware. No instructions.
No instructions at all.
And I called them like, is there like a PDF or something? Oh no, they don't. They have them. Like, I realize the guys aren't looking at that every day because they make these, but I'm like, there has to be an original file. Maybe not.
But I think that it's really cool. It's kind of comparable to when they do tiny homes or something, and they put that like garage door, big barn doors on the side, and it's that like indoor outdoor living.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be super
scenario.
Cool by the end.
It's so cool. It lets so much light in. You can see the view. If you've watched us for a while, you know that we were obsessed with that giant window in the back of our bus right above the bed. And having traveled in it, we've seen all the beautiful views out that window. And this is like that window times 10.
It's the whole wall.
It's incredible. It's
going to be
great.
It's pretty cool.
Yes. Bart is back.
Plus, you still have like that massive ventilation immediately if you want it. Like,
oh yeah, and to just open those doors, vent everything out when you're cooking or whatever it is. Steven said, I heard an old travel song that made me think of you, me and you, and a dog named Pooh. Have you heard it? Would change the lyrics to me and you and a guy named Drew.
That's old. That's an old one.
That is an old song. I like that song.
I don't know it though.
I do.
I've heard of it, but I don't know how to play it. So I mean,
Chuck says, oh my, that's going to be wonderful, but now you've got to get a huge screen way ahead of you. I already have the screen.
Oh, you do?
Yep. I already ordered it. I ordered a bunch of screen because I was going to make screens for our shuttle bus windows. And then I was going to do it last year, and the bus build took longer than we thought it would, and I never got time. So I have a ton of screen just sitting in the shop, and I was like, well, look at this. Oh. This is perfect.
Nice. Can't wait to see it.
I've never opened the box. That's why you haven't seen it. It's just sitting there.
Nice. Perfect. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Savannah had we got them closed and Savannah couldn't she couldn't open them.
Oh my gosh. They shut because they have weather seal on the entire outside and also on the inside. Drew installed these doors, Drew and his brother, and then closed them. And they're like, all right, open the door. And I pulled the handle. It kind of goes to the side, and I'm pulling on it, and I have my legs like up on the side of the vehicle, and I'm pulling on it, and I cannot get this door open.
I think that's good. I think it means it's sealed well.
I hope so.
We'll see.
I also hope that it loosens up a bit over time.
I'm sure will a little bit.
But it is certainly secure. Drew has to go up to it and like pull it really hard to get it open.
I did find that actually you can get your hand under. There's like a little
there's a lip,
lip like drain area on that sill.
Yeah.
If you do that, it helps, but it is pretty tight.
Sarah asks, what did you do new on the bus this week? A lot of
Cut
things.
my thumb.
Yeah.
There was that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the doors, we did those.
The doors were part of it.
A couple of weeks before that's out, I think, though.
Cutting your thumb.
Cutting my thumb episode. Welcome to episode 15. Cutting my thumb and my nose and my wrist. Oh yeah, I actually gouged my other part of my hand on a 5-inch hole saw right there too.
Jeez, calm down.
Yeah, those hole saws are dangerous.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we worked on those doors and then
we did the overhead cabinets.
Yeah.
Ooh. Coming up in this week's episode, we picked the paint color.
Oh, don't give it away. Don't give it away. You can guess though if you want.
We picked the paint color for the whole build. You know, paint is in all the same spots that it is in all our buses. And I'm pretty excited.
Puke yellow.
It's just like mustard, or you don't like that really neon green yellow color.
Puke yellow.
Oh, it's not that bad. You could design around it.
That's what we did.
I could do yellow. Nice.
Yellow's tough sell, man.
Yeah, it's a little bright.
It has its place in the world.
It's a very nice way to put it.
In a vehicle build like that.
Yeah, we picked the color after a little bit of back and forth because Drew and I have very different color palettes in our brains. We finally settled on one, and I'm excited for everybody to see it because the color that we choose gets put everywhere in the build. It's like below the bed and the booth and the kitchen and the overhead cab. There's a lot of that color going on. So it's a really big decision that kind of just steers the whole feel of the build. Like everything else that you add after that paint color has to go with it, or it's just a train wreck.
Yeah, or you go back because you got a blue that looks like a dolphin.
Yeah, like last year.
I was like, this is wow.
That blue.
That was a tough one.
That was a tough blue.
But when we got it right, it was really nice.
It was, yeah. Finished up more of the kitchen cabinet. Did those overhead cabinets.
I've been slowly wiring things as I've gone here.
Slowly wiring.
It'll end up being one episode that's pretty concise, maybe two. But I've sort of been just going as we build stuff, or at least setting some of the things in place so I can get to the full like installation process, it's just going to be a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Just sort of piecing it out. Like, oh, that little piece of the cabinet's done. Cool. I'm going to start wiring these lights on these rocker switches. And
yeah, the wiring kind of has to be done as you're building stuff and as you're going.
Well, it doesn't have to, but
it's nice to do it that way.
Because before, especially the first one, I did it all after.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's, I don't know. There's different schools of thought on it, I guess.
Of course.
If you really know what you're doing and have done it and have a plan, maybe doing it all at once might be a pretty good idea, or like a day of prep and then a couple days of installation.
Mm-hmm.
I did actually, that's the main thing I did first, was I did prep all the wires. So I figured out just about all the wires I needed, and then figure out what those lengths were, and then went back and did the math to figure out what gauge I needed for like the amp draw. So then it's like, oh, okay, I need a 30-foot 16 gauge wire or whatever it is.
Right.
And then I went back and I cut all my 16, all my 14, all my 12. I don't really have too much bigger than that. I have like the solar stuff's 8, and then there'll be 10. Like, that's a different part of it though. But anyways, yeah, you cut all those wires ahead of time with the lengths. So as soon as you get to that spot, it's like, oh, cool. I'm ready to wire these outlets. It's like, yep, kitchen outlets. Cool. There's a roll of wire. Go grab it and go to it.
Yeah, it's
so
really convenient.
That's been nice
that way.
Instead of having to like then figure out the measurement and go out, measure it, cut it. Yeah. That kind of stuff helps a lot. But I've been just sort of going as we get to spots and wiring outlets and
wiring things up,
strip lights, and
we did the bathroom walls. Cut those out of ply. Significantly easier.
Yeah.
Without a big curve to the wall. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Anyways, those are some of the things.
All right, we're just over 50 minutes, so we're gonna just go through a few more comments.
Any more fantastic ones?
Yeah. Let's see here. I am way behind on this chat. We like to ramble in our question answers.
I never know how many questions are there because I can't see the screen that far.
One of these weeks you have to read the comments, and I'll play the guitar. Element 115, I give up. What beer are you drinking?
It's OG New Belgium Fat Tire.
Fat Tire,
Fat Tire, man.
Also guessed light green for the paint. Very good guess. Not quite. I wish. I love green.
Classic. Does look just like the kilt lifter can, especially that little bit. The same blue and red and the white.
Jennifer says, hey, we're installing our drawers under the Dickinson heater and putting in our freezer, just like you guys did. What did you do for ventilation on the freezer? We should have done more.
Yes.
Is what we should have done. Our freezer does run okay, but it could use more ventilation.
Yeah.
If I had it to do again, I would add a vent between. I'm not sure if you have your booth right next to the Dickinson, but for us, I would put the freezer on the bottom and I would vent it into the booth.
Yeah, the heater part's not an issue with the freezer because the heat, it doesn't really get like hot right under there, but just the general ventilation, either a bigger compartment or a smaller freezer would be my recommendation. And yeah, if you can leave the back end of it open or the side. So like on ours, like you said, it's the back of the booth, which is kind of there's like a hollow, 3-inch?
Yeah, it's like 3 inches. Yeah.
You could leave that back end open to a vent, or the other side is the wall. You could leave that open.
Yeah, like for the last bus, we built the freezer into a box that went in between the seats, and we bought... I don't know what you would call it.
Like a louver vent or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a grate kind of thing that you would put into a house.
Big old vent.
It was big. It was like 14 inches, I think, or 12 inches. And we put that on the side of the box. So I would do something similar, just like in the cabinet, basically.
Yeah. As long as it has a little bit of an air gap, it should be fine. Ours sometimes it's too tight. It gets too hot sometimes. So... like I'm gonna put a smaller one in there probably.
Definitely.
Our friends have one in a similar compartment, and they've had no issues.
No.
But I think there's butts up to their bed or something. They might have just. I've never asked them how exactly it is under there, but there just might be more air space.
Yeah.
So if you got this big of a drawer, it's like maybe just do a little bit smaller freezer, just so it has more air.
It runs. You can just tell that it's laboring a bit.
Yeah, if it's hot, it's like
it might take a bit off of its long-term life just as an appliance. So it's not non-functioning. It's just that if I had it to do again, I would give it a little more room to breathe.
I would recommend oversizing the compartment relative to the freezer.
Definitely.
That would be my recommendation.
Yep. Oh, let's see.
And then maybe a vent either on the side or the front.
Kraken engineer color is chartreuse. That's one you're thinking of.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what that's called?
Mm-hmm.
A gross color.
If you're... Oh, Bart is giving suggestions to Gary for work on the road. I haul a cargo trailer behind my van and deliver furniture across the states for money.
Nice.
Drew did long distance moving for a really long time. So he's kind of familiar with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dino sent a super chat, $10. Thank you so much, Dino. Thanks for another Wednesday. See you Sunday. Brand new episode coming Sunday.
Super chat.
Yellow. I actually love yellow.
Super chat.
You can go with buttercream. That's what I was saying. You can go with more.
Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Buttercream yellow.
You can.
Super chat.
The super chat is yellow.
I know.
You can go with more.
Yellow is your main color in the house. For me, it's tough sell. I'm not saying it can't be done.
You can go. You don't have to go with like construction.
Yeah, I'm thinking
yellow.
of like the most. Yeah.
Not like a kindergarten classroom kind of yellow. Like they said buttercream here. Like a muted yellow, or even something like that's on my shirt. You know, it doesn't have to be like.
No, I can see that working in the right context.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking of like a really gross color, mostly.
Savannah. Oh, Drew, what did you do to your thumb? Also, Fat Tire changed their labeling.
Sorry. Yeah, take that. No one's ever gonna guess. I'm just gonna come up with confusing labels. I sliced it with the wire strippers. I was stripping back the insulation on my marine wire, not the wires themselves, but like the housing, the extra insulation that protects the wires. And I just pulled it, yanked it right into my thumb and into my nail a little bit, and sliced it pretty good. It should be okay. It's not. I mean, it's not the worst, but it could have been really bad.
Savannah, did you get any cuts on your hands from working on those metal cabinets? I've been cutting aluminum the last 6 days and have so many cuts all over my hands. I am like a freak about PPE, I guess you would call it. Like
PPE, wow.
Personal protective equipment. Especially when welding and cutting metal, because my dad has scars all over his arms and like burn marks, and I don't want that. I don't want burns on my arms or like cuts on my hands. So I always wear gloves and stuff, especially when I'm welding. I always wear gloves and that jacket that makes me look like a stick of mint gum. It's like bright. Oh,
yeah, that color.
Bright mint colored.
That's actually kind of like the slightly greener version of that bad blue we picked last year.
It's really bright. It's an old welding jacket that has been sitting around, and I inherited.
Many generations, the ugly jacket is yours now.
And then, but also a big advantage that we have going on here is we have the band saw that you may have seen in some of the videos. So to cut the metal, I'm not doing it with an angle grinder or something. I'm doing it with a band saw, so I don't have to like touch the metal. I like clamp it in place. I set the bandsaw and it goes down with the coolant and everything. So
just have Dynaphiles here, so you just file off. As soon as you cut something like that, you get the Dynaphile, which if most people know what it is, but if they don't, it's an air tool. It's just like an air powered super sander file thing. So you just zip off that little bit and it smooths it out.
Deburr everything. Yeah. My dad is really big on deburring.
The Dynaphile is because you cut yourself. You do it without realizing too.
Yeah, that stuff is really It's really sharp.
You can get the little hand tool, works actually really good too, the deburr tool.
Yeah. Sometimes on the metal, you'll get a cut on your hand. Like we have drop bins here where we can get some scrap metal or something if we need a little piece. And sometimes you'll reach into the bin and like you'll get cut by the metal and it's like a razor blade and you don't even know you've been cut until it starts to bleed like 20 seconds later. It's so fine and I hate it.
Yeah, basically just be cautious and deburr the stuff if you can. If you have a dynaphile or they have electric ones, we have one of those as well.
Yeah.
Or just the deburr tool. That's my recommendation for sure. That helps a lot.
Yes. Well, I think that does it. We're at an hour. We are at an hour.
That it?
I love the support that I'm seeing in the comments here going down. We wish you luck, Gary. I hope that you find a new job that you can go into, van life or bus life, doing something that you enjoy, you know? We wish you luck.
The last thing I'd say about that is like, it doesn't have to be 365. Like,
the job, yeah.
No, or living mobile.
Living
and always moving. Some people think that, I got to do it that way, but a lot of people do seasonal, and they have more stable, like permanent locations.
Yeah.
Or even you just have a couple of locations that you rotate between. So you could get a summer and a winter job in different spots, and then go do fun things in that part of the country off of that.
Yeah, that's very true. It doesn't have to be 100% of the time, you know, if it just takes a little bit of the pressure off to not have rent or a mortgage or whatever it is, and you can travel even and just get some like mental space and have fun, you know. That's worth something for sure.
It's worth everything.
It is. Well, here's Mateo. We always show him at the ends. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We love chatting with you guys every Wednesday. We're planning on being here Wednesday again next week, and we are like moving along with these build videos. I can't even believe that we have as many out as we do already. It's crazy that it's already August. So we will see you next week. We will see you on Sunday for a brand new episode.
Can't wait.
You gonna play us out?
Already am.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night, and we will see you next week, and we'll see you on Sunday. Thanks so much. Bye.